Good morning, everybody, and welcome to 1 Million Cups Colorado Springs. Cheers, first and foremost, on this Wednesday morning. I hope everybody's doing well. We've got a wonderful virtual 1 Million Cups this morning. All of our presenters are here, ready to go, got our hot cups of coffee. Hope you do as well. I'm going to start off by telling you all about 1 Million Cups. We are a entrepreneur-focused networking event here in Colorado Springs that is now all online up until we can get this coronavirus figured out. And we're centered around everybody on Wednesday morning across America, entrepreneurs having 1 million cups of coffee. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our coffee sponsor, or excuse me, our coffee roaster, Eagle and Crane Coffee, who provides us coffee when we are live in person, Mackenzie Schultz. All right, Mac, don't you have a special right now going for your coffee?
Yeah, I do. 1 Million Cup members can get 20% off any online purchase with using the coupon code CUPS, C-U-P-S. So yeah, go check it out. I'd love to send you some coffee.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. And that code was CUPS, C-U-P-S. Awesome. And we've also got, we don't have a coffee sponsor this month, but it would be HR Branches, our own Rihanna. So thank you for volunteering for this month, though we couldn't do it in person, Rihanna. And finally, the Better Business Bureau and SBDC has provided us cups for when we're in person forever. So we always want to take our hats off to them and acknowledge the wonderful work they do here in Colorado Springs. Without further ado, I'd like to roll into our first presenters. We've got Mike Worley and Steve Ringelspaw. Mike is the CEO and Steve is the Director of Outreach for Beautiful Redemption. And just as a side note, Mike is a biological father, a foster father, an adoptive father, and a grandfather. He's very tired, but they work very hard and they're here to tell you their 6-minute story. So without further ado, here are Mike and Steve from Beautiful Redemption.
Thank you so much there, Jeff. To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. This quote changed our lives. We had 5 biological children, 3 of them moved out of the house, and we decided to become foster parents. We went through training with Hope and Home here in El Paso County. We got licensed, certified, and experienced our first foster care situation. Little did we know, 5 years later, that would lead to us to adopt 3 little children back into our home. And yeah, when you add 7 grandchildren on top of that, yes, we're tired all the time. One thing we saw was this disconnect in the community between community, faith community, business community, and the foster care system. In terms of what we are talking about, we saw the big gap between our caseworkers who were working their tails off to serve people like us, who were looking to help needy children, at-risk children in our community. We saw the gap between those caseworkers and the community. So we looked for a tool and found a tool, and the tool is called Care Portal. Care Portal is a technical email system that goes from the Department of Human Services, Hope and Home, CASA, Fostering Hope, Lutheran Family Services, Catholic Charities, all these agencies and organizations in El Paso County, they put out needs, and it goes electronically through email to community members that just sign up their name. Who could imagine that we could support foster children and parents of foster children and kinship families and kids that are aging out of the system? We could help all of them through an email system that connects us. You know, our community is great at responding to needs when it knows the needs. Sometimes the issue is we don't really know the needs. Care Portal puts the specific needs from professionals who are dealing with at-risk children right to your email. So you might get an email about a need for a car seat or a bunk bed or a bike or a number of different needs. And you're able to respond by just hitting a button on the email. Steve, why don't you show us what this looks like? How practically does it really work with us here in El Paso County? Because we've served over 7,200 children this way through over 5,000 volunteers who've shared their email with us at careportal.org. Take a look at what it looks like.
In every community, there are children and families in crisis who need help. But for many, isolation and lack of community resources prevents them from getting the help they really need. And in every community, there are churches and people who care, who want to take action. But what they need is a connection point and support. Care Portal allows child welfare professionals to share real needs in real time through technology. The Care Portal network is already helping children all across the world.
I want to show you one of the amazing things that's happening now in the midst of the COVID virus. I'm going to show you guys the Care Portal website right here and come back to screen share. Here's the website right now. If you go to careportal.org, this is what you're going to find. And our platform for helping kids, we've now kind of made like a micro platform that can now share to help in the COVID-19 crisis here. So when you go there, you're going to find this, how to serve through COVID. If you click that, then literally anyone can get involved. If you're just an individual and you just want to be aware of the COVID needs or the children in crisis need, you can just click this and it'll show you how to do that specifically. You can donate, you can add your name to the list so that you can receive requests. You can introduce your church if you go to church. You can do any of those things through the platform right here. I'm going to go back to the website and show you what else is here though. Because what's really important is I want to show you how this works specifically. If you go to the map, there's a map button right here. Once this goes away, there's a map button. This is how the whole portal works. Care Portal works all over the country, but specifically Beautiful Redemption is in charge of Colorado right here. So as you zoom in on this area, you're going to see all these exclamation points. These exclamation points are live needs of children and family either affected by the coronavirus or are just, they need your assistance. You can click on any one of these and there's going to be a description down here. There's going to be who presented it. This is from El Paso County DHS. They're presenting these things and they're asking for help. There's going to be responses. Right now it looks like Pulpit Rock Church has responded to this. There's a description here. They're waiting for employment income. They've been laid off. They have a 16 and a 13-year-old. So the crosses here that you're going to notice, these are all the churches in that community that are close to that need. And the exclamation points, each one of these is a live need from a family that's in crisis, that literally anybody.
That's wonderful, guys. Thank you so much. Your 6 minutes is actually up. So everybody, thank you very much. So thank you so much. Thank you very much for sharing your stories, guys. We're going to start with the questions now. My first question is going to be, if nobody else has one, I don't see one in the chat yet. How did you get involved? Where did this all start with you? What's your story? How did this become connected to you?
Yeah, we were foster adoptive parents and went to a conference called the Christian Alliance for Orphans that pulls together about 3,000 people that are engaged in this space throughout the world. We ran into Care Portal there and we said that is what Colorado needs, a technical system, technology being mapped to meet needs.
Wow, that's really wonderful. And how did you guys link up on this together?
Yeah, Well, Mike was a pastor for over 30 years. So he was already well integrated with ministries and people connecting. And so he started Beautiful Redemption back in 2015 as a way to bridge the gap between the foster care system, the state, businesses, churches, bring them all together. I've been in youth ministry for the last 10 years, serving kids in crisis. But my heart really ached within this last year to say, this is great that we're helping people and kids in our group, but how as a community can we help people outside our group? Not just because they're connected to me, but because I want to help our community. So that just pulled at my heart. That's how I wanted to get involved. I wanted to serve people that I didn't know, people that I'd never received something from, because that's what our community needs.
Wow, that's absolutely wonderful. And where do you guys see yourselves going in the next 2 years?
We see ourselves serving over 10,000 children and expanding. We're in 5 counties right now in the state of Colorado. We want to double that to 10 counties. We want to serve as many at-risk children as possible. And it goes beyond us having garage sales and little diaper drives and things like that. See, in this platform, leveraging technology, everyone can do something. And this provides the opportunity for everybody to just do something.
Mm-hmm. And just to jump on top of that, there's so many issues in the world that just seem unsolvable. World hunger, peace, and there's all these huge things. Children in crisis throughout the world. But we have children in crisis in the United States, and this is actually something that we can drastically turn upside down in our lifetime. Just if you take we're using church statistics a lot, but if you took one person from each church in the nation and they adopted or got involved, like, we could actually solve the foster system crisis. So this crisis seems like something that's not solvable, but I believe that we can solve this in our lifetime, at least the part of connecting a community that cares to kids in isolation. You're always going to have people down on their luck, but I believe that we can drastically change the nation's statistics.
Wow, thank you so much. I believe Rihanna had a question for you next.
I do. Good morning, and thank you for all of the great work that you do. I'm a little curious, are you guys a nonprofit or a for-profit entity with social impact emphasis?
We are a nonprofit, and at the same time, through the Care Portal technological system, we don't do fundraisers. We ask people to go ahead and just use their own dime on their own time in answering a request.
Okay, great. So how do you pull in money? You say their own dime on their own time. What exactly does that look like? And how can us as a community know how to help fund you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you respond to a request, you could go to Walmart and pick up a bunk bed and buy it and then deliver it to a family or the caseworker. So you've paid for all of that. We also have other opportunities where businesses can sponsor counties. We do anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 per county. We pay in licensing fees and just running fees, website, all that kind of stuff. So businesses can sponsor counties or they can get involved. They also have options if they want 100% of donations to go to answering requests. Being a 501c3, we can just give them a tax write-off, and we can actually just take all that money and say, hey, all this is going to bunk beds. All this is going to car seats. Like, this is all going to the requests of people. So there's a few different ways that people can do it.
Awesome. And I think Mackenzie had the next question.
Hey guys, it sounds like you have a lot of connections and a lot of moving parts, and I'm wondering if you could tell us some of the growing pains with connecting all of these different nonprofits and ministries, and kind of how all of that has worked out.
Yeah, some of the growing pains are right now we have about 50 requests that haven't been replied to. They haven't been responded to. So the need is great. And with the COVID crisis, the need is getting greater. So we need more individuals, businesses, churches to come on board, form an email group within your business, within your church, individuals in your neighborhood. Log on to careportal.org and see how you can be an answer to the real issues and real requests that are coming in the crisis.
Mhm. Yeah, honestly, it's easy to get agencies to put out requests. They're always needing help because there's just not enough resources there in the budget and with the state. The real opportunity here is to get people who are willing to respond. They don't have to respond every day. They don't have to respond every month, but they just have to be willing to see the requests, get involved, get their churches involved, because that's an entire another community that can get involved. Yeah.
We have businesses like Classic Homes, El Pomar, several others that come alongside and get their businesses involved by just going to careportal.org or becoming a corporate sponsor, where they've said, let us sponsor the county so it doesn't cost these agencies anything to be putting out the requests.
Perfect. And I believe Brandy had a question for you as well.
I sure do. Good morning, guys. Thank you for sharing your story. But I was checking out your website and I noticed there were 2 other tabs on there, one for the GoX print and apparel and one for the Global Orphan Project. Can you guys share how those help and how that's all tied into the Care Portal and its cost?
Yeah, Global Orphan Project is an organization, and Care Portal is a subsidiary of that. So Care Portal is the United States emphasis on serving needy children, with the big organization being Global Orphan Project. GoX is a t-shirt company. These are all businessmen that want to touch the lives of needy children. And so they've created a t-shirt business where fair quality wages are paid, not sweatshops, but fair quality wages are paid to employees that are in need, at-risk individuals who go forth and make this apparel. And then any company, business, church can order t-shirts, have them custom made, and some of that money goes back to the county where that business helps with kids.
Cool. Thank you.
You bet.
How wonderful. Mackenzie has a question for you guys from Facebook, actually.
Yes, Leah Walton asks, what avenues are you promoting, and do you leverage social media to educate the community about these requests?
Yeah, go to beautifulredemption.com. We on Facebook have a Beautiful Redemption social media page. We put out posts probably every other day of different ways people can get connected. Right now we're working with we're working with the United Way, several churches in the area, collecting computers on Friday. You can drop them off at Pulpit Rock Church, used computers or laptops for needy kids, because at-risk kids don't have access to those. So we're collecting 100 of them or more on Sunday or Saturday, 9 to 3 o'clock at Pulpit Rock. All those kinds of events and advertisements, that kind of thing, connecting emails go out through social media.
For your computer drive, will y'all wipe the computers? I might have a laptop to donate. Will y'all wipe the computers of all of its current data?
Yes, United Way has a tech person that's going to make sure that every laptop, every electric device that is donated is swiped clean.
Perfect. I'll see you Saturday with a laptop then.
Great. It'll be
Cool.
a drive-through too. So just people will be there to collect it with gloves on and masks on and put it in the pile there. Yeah, it's been amazing the way the community's responded. I just got 12 laptops this last week to donate.
He started out just asking for 60 for his 60th birthday.
Do you guys partner with any local businesses beyond what you've mentioned so far? Some small businesses. I know you do United Way and some of the churches, but as an example, Dylan from Dart Wars is the one that asked this question. Would you do any partnership with him as an example?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Bombbomb.com, BombBomb, the email social media device. They're a big sponsor of ours. Integrity Bank has gotten behind us. Little businesses like Rocky Mountain Soap Company off Tejon has come alongside. In fact, we're going over there tomorrow. They're putting together 25 bags of special products. We're taking those and delivering to the DHS caseworkers.
Wow, that's absolutely wonderful. Do we have any other questions from Facebook, Matt? Anybody else have any other questions for these guys?
Just in closing, I'd say every child's beautiful and every story can experience redemption. So go to beautifulredemption.com and be part of the story.
Wow, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. That was absolutely wonderful. All right, and
Did
now
we ask our super special question?
Oh,
Jeff?
we do have our super special question. I forgot all about it. Brandy, do you want to ask that?
I was about to say, we should be getting there any minute now. Yes. What can we do as a Colorado Springs community to help and support you?
Big thing is get your church involved, get your business involved, help us get the word out. Careportal.org, it just works. That's all we can attest to. It just works, but there's a lot of work to do. We're just scratching the surface. We've got the support of our Department of Human Services director, our congressman, our county commissioners, but any way you can help get the word out. Hey, have you heard about this email system that connects real needs with real people? This is the way it gets done.
I just want to jump in really quick. You guys, I'm watching the Facebook feed and you guys are getting big kudos in what you're doing in the community. So keep on doing what you're doing. You're making a huge impact. So thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Jeff, it looks like it's time for community announcements.
Yes,
do you want to take it away?
Is. I was, yeah, sorry, it got shifted over to mute. I believe, Joe, you're handling community announcements today.
Yeah, just got a couple
community announcement.
Just got a couple things with Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce. Later today at 11 o'clock this morning, there's a town hall with all of the delegates to the state Congress from El Paso County. And then tomorrow at 11:30 to 1, there's a Chamber Virtual Connect. And it's the topic is returning to work with COVID-19. Dr. Polanco from Health Quest is going to go over requirements for employers, ways to protect your employees as you're bringing them back up, and especially protecting customers as they start coming back in the door. There's also a great capability that that they're working through, which is virtual networking. So it'll be a half hour of breakout sessions with 3 or 4 of the other participants. So it'll be a good chance for you to interact and maybe get back into the networking scene if that's part of building your business. Hope to see you guys there.
Hey everybody, I have a couple of community announcements too. As I've been promoting for the last couple of weeks, the Pikes Peak SBDC has a number of things going on. If you have not had a chance to go to their website, check out their website. Also, the state of Colorado has started accepting unemployment claims for self-employed and gig workers. So make sure if you are self-employed or a gig worker or an independent contractor, go out and that you're not able to work, go out to the Colorado unemployment site and you can file for unemployment. I know that there is a significant backlog. The name of the game right now is patience, patience, patience. So please be patient. Last but not least, SCORE. Check in with SCORE. They are really putting their best foot forward on helping small businesses reopen the state of Colorado. So with that said, yours truly, myself, will be hosting a webinar on behalf of SCORE on April 29th. It is Assess, Plan, and Rebuild Your Business. If you want to talk and think large scale on how to reopen and rebuild your business, join this webinar. It will be incredibly helpful. Other than that, tons of resources. Keep your eye on legislation. We should be getting an additional bill passed later on this week to fund some more PPP programs. So if you don't have an application in already and you need funds, please get your application in now so you can get in queue to receive some funds to help your business out. Remember, underneath the PPP program, you do have to use 75% of those funds on payroll in order for it to be considered forgivable. The latter 25 can be used for your rent, your utilities, Wi-Fi, any type of your fixed bills that you have out there. If you have any questions, reach out to any of us 1 Million Cups coordinators or the SBDC or SCORE or the Chamber or any of these wonderful organizations who are here to help you out. Best of luck to all of us.
Hey, this is Joshua. I just want to introduce a new member of the Colorado Springs small business community. This is Benjamin Phillip Stevenson, and he was born on Thursday last week. So I just wanted to throw a shout out to my son. So again, we'll take a look at him. Hey, yeah. That is my community announcement. Thank you.
Congrats, Josh.
Congratulations.
All right, cool. I'll hop on here real quick. I just messaged Josh a few minutes ago and I told him he had that new baby look. So yes, thank you for sharing this morning. He is just adorable. Two things we forgot to mention last week. We did put them in the Facebook comments. Frank Sinclair had asked us to remind everyone that VetNet is still hosting their weekly meeting Tuesday mornings. It's live streaming directly to their Facebook group, Tuesdays at 8:30. So if you're in the veteran community looking to support them, definitely hop on there and check them out. And then the other was mentioned by Danielle McCarthy last week from Renaissance Coaching, which we did not mention, but April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and CASA of the Pikes Peak region is actually doing the Give 5 Challenge 5 campaign to raise funds. Their goal is to raise about $25,000 to impact abused children here in the Pikes Peak region. So please check them out if you're looking to support the community and give back to the greater purpose. So that's all I got for you guys this morning.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for your community announcements. If we have no other announcements, we have a special second half of our presenters today. We're actually going to have Dylan and James. Dylan, everybody knows from Dart Wars, and James, everybody knows is the skier P guy. And they have some very special stuff they wanted to talk to us about this morning. So without further ado, I'm just going to let them introduce what they're speaking about and how it's going to go this morning. Dylan.
All right. Hey, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. As he said, my name is Dylan Newman, owner of Dart Wars. Obviously, this has been a crazy past month plus. So we'll get into that a little bit more after James go ahead and introduces himself real quick.
I'm James Wicker, and I'm with Evergood Elixirs, the director of sales. We're a winery, makes wine with lemons instead of grapes out of Palmer Lake, Colorado. And you know, I'm excited to talk about this time because I think it presents some unique opportunities for us to plug into the community and some of the creative things that we're doing. And so thanks for the invite, Sam. And our founder, Matthew, would have loved to have been here, but he's busy today. So I'm going to kind of sub in his place.
All right. So, you know, everybody understands the crazy times we're in, the chaotic times we're in. So I'm going to be talking from the perspective of, you know, being a business that had to shut down 5 weeks ago per the government's orders, and because it was the safe and smart thing to do. But what I'm going to focus on is the reality of making the decisions you got to make as a business owner to survive this situation. So quick recap of me. I was on the verge of opening a second store up in Denver. I had 2 people in line to franchise and coronavirus hit, right? So that just went straight down the tubes, but luckily I had some cash on hand and I was able to really focus on, again, the core of of Dart Wars Colorado Springs. So the hardest thing for me was the furloughing of 23 employees. That's the tough part. You know, that's the part that, you know, I can easily suck up not taking a paycheck. But, you know, I've got 23 people that I have to make decisions on. It's not just about me. So that was the tough part, is making those decisions to furlough those folks. Even with this PPP program, is it more beneficial to my employees to go on unemployment, get that extra $600 a week? Or is it better for me to keep them on the staff and on the payroll? Those are the things that I was really struggling with. And then you have to make some, you have to reevaluate your long-term goals, what you want to do, and then make those short tactical decisions to enable those new long-term goals. Because obviously my long-term goal was, well, it was a little bit shorter, but to open that second store up in Denver and to, you know, have those franchisees start their businesses, but that's fallen off the plate. So I'll hand it over to James for a little bit, let him chat a little bit what they've been doing, so I don't dominate all the time.
No, I appreciate it. I think, you know, as an unknown brand, you know, when you're so divergent, making wine from lemons instead of grapes, the challenge in our industry is people have to try it to really understand that this actually tastes good. And so our core sales philosophy and one of our core strategies, our crease, so to speak, was to do in-store tasting. So typically on a Friday and Saturday, a normal weekend anywhere in Colorado, between our sales reps and our BAs, we were doing 9 to 12 tastings a weekend, which was creating us and generating a significant part of our sales. And as soon as the shutdown came, that cut down our sales. Now, fortunately, we're a very lean startup. So even though it was a great decrease in cash flow, it wasn't catastrophic to our business. And we've grown very fast in the first 2 years of business. And so then we started to look to how do we shift our energy and attention, because now we have a lot of extra time because we're not doing all these tastings on the weekends. And how do we plug into our community and help those other businesses that are less fortunate? So we came up with a special program to help specifically bars and restaurants, and the response has been outstanding, and it actually has grown our business to our surprise. We weren't really sure if it was going to be received or well liked, but that creative strategy we came up with as a team has been able to not only help the community, but we found it actually increased our business significantly in what they call in the industry in the on-premise space. On-premises bars, restaurants, you know, event venues, and then your off-premises typically your liquor stores and things of that nature. So it became a win-win situation. And now what we're looking at as a business is going forward, as things slowly start to open up, how do we even contribute more? Because there's still going to be that need there. So how do we find that crease, or how do we tweak our business a little bit more to help those folks and those individuals? And so the strategy is always ever evolving, right? Plan, do, and review is always a critical part of your business.
Yeah, that is key, to be lean and to be lean thinking, because you know, we're not a big business as well, but I do have the 23 employees plus myself. But the biggest thing is looking at your short-term. What are your short-term obstacles? What are the things that are going to shut down your business right away? And for me, it was my two biggest costs are obviously employees and my rent. So instead of just going to my landlord, just saying, hey, I can't pay rent, I put together a nice detailed sheet, gave him a bunch of courses of action saying, hey, if I keep paying rent, this is how long you can get rent. If I do it half price, this is how long you can keep getting rent. And if we go no, that's, you know, long-term gain for you. So luckily I have a great relationship with my landlord, and they enabled me not to pay rent. So that is good. My employees, obviously, cost benefit analysis on trying to keep them getting paychecks. So obviously the huge load on the unemployment system is crushing, you know, people's ability to get money. but with the understanding that hopefully, well, it will back pay to a certain date. I think it's mid-February. So at least there's a light at the end of the tunnel. The other things, I've had to cut I've cut insurance, I've cut my, phone bill. I mean, there's just, you got to look at all those little target things that, yes, it'll cause you work to redo it, but hey, I want to be able to reopen. But the good thing is the few employees that I have, about 4 or 5 of them, I've kept them working because I want them to keep getting paychecks. And we've been doing all these projects I've wanted to do for the past year, which is awesome. So we're knocking that out. So at least there's, to use we're making some good lemon wine here. So I'll leave it with that one.
No, and that's a great point. I mean, like, a couple obstacles. Obviously, I talked a little bit about the unknown. That's really the big thing. Even though we're in over 200 plus locations across the state, we're still a relatively unknown product. So, how do you get the word out? How do you get people to try your product? How do you get people to take a chance on your product? And, he talked about the load on unemployment and the need. One of the things that we did is we started reaching out to people that we knew and people in the community that we knew were laid off. And we said, hey, start calling these bars and restaurants in this program, and then we're going to give you an X amount per case that's delivered to those restaurants to kind of help you immediately put some money in your pocket for those individuals that had been laid off or furloughed. So that could help them on the other end as well. So, really, and, trimming down, he talked a little bit about trimming the expenses. One of the things Matthew and I talk a lot about is watching your pennies, because those pennies add up to dollars, right? So you always, as a lean startup and as a smaller company, those pennies are critical, and especially when there's a tightening, so to speak, during a time like this, watching those pennies can be absolutely critical. And don't be afraid to get creative. Don't be afraid to also look at history. One of the things that we started to do right when this first started is we started to analyze, like, when there was an economic recession or there was a downturn or the last pandemic, or what were consumers doing differently? How did they change their buying habits? And a good example was in the wine industry. There was Ernest Gallo during the Great Depression. What they did is they actually got smaller bottles. They lowered their price to almost half of the price of the competitors in those smaller bottles, and people were willing to pick up their wine. So, looking at those trends, doing that really deep data analysis on how you can survive a time like this is critically important. And I think the other part is the community. We talk about 1 million cups, and used to be an organizer at 1 million cups, and community is absolutely critical. So as a company, how can we contribute to the community? And that goes a long way also into growing your brand, because then people somewhere down the road will remember, hey, this is what these guys did for our community. And that creates that kind of that cohesiveness, or it creates cheerleaders in your community, right? There are people recognizing that, hey, these are companies that genuinely care about what's going on in El Paso County. And so all those things playing together in that kind of holistic approach when you're looking at sales and building that and putting it all together. It's the pennies. It's the, how do I help my community? How do I help individuals that have been furloughed? And putting that all together in your strategy to push through times like this and even actually see growth like we've seen.
All right, I've got a question for you guys, and this is probably more directly towards Dylan, but James, I think you guys, Evergood Elixirs are a little bit kind of one order removed from this, and that both of you guys, your business model is focused on getting lots of people into one location and having fun. Which Dylan, in your case, that's sweating and laughing and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of almost exactly the opposite of the direction that coronavirus is pulling our whole community. What I was kind of curious about is the longer term, and you guys have both done a great job of talking about the short-term pivots, managing the pennies and those great first steps. But what are the bigger picture things that you see on the horizon that are going to let you survive and then thrive within the restrictions? Because until we get a virus it's going to be tough to do that. So kind of how are you looking at pivoting your business, shifting so that you can accommodate folks, get people back in the door sooner, or keep your business model going?
No, that's a great question. That's the $1 million question right there, right? Obviously, this is the worst case scenario for an industry like mine. You know, because even if I turn to my online sales, which we do modified blasters, we sell blasters online throughout the country, people aren't going to buy them if they can't go anywhere to use them. Because again, you get this really souped up blaster, and moms and dads don't necessarily want their kids spraying 1,000 rounds down in their basement, right? So I can't really pivot to an online model, right? I can't do a Zoom Nerf party. I mean, right? So that's the $1 million question. But here's the deal: is I have to turn into a grizzly bear during the winter. You know, take as much as I can and try to hibernate and withstand what's going on. That's the only way to quote pivot. You know, to last this thing is outlast the virus. Because the bottom line is this: when moms and dads don't feel comfortable going out of their house, even if they opened up today, you know, 90% of the community is still in fear. So no matter what I say, and it sounds like I'm trying to be a snake oil salesman, like saying, no, it's safe, come on into my place. I just got to weather the time. Time is the key. So for me, that's what sucks is there's nothing I can do to beat the fear of the virus. Now, when we do reopen, I'll have a core set of people that I truly believe will continue to come in or will come in, but that's not the huge revenue driver of everyday people coming on in. So it's just going to be time and figuring out that balance of hibernating and opening.
Yeah, I think it's, for us, it's a little bit different. You know, there's a couple different approaches. You know, one of my favorite business books is The Go-Giver by Bob Berg, and I highly recommend it. It's really based on the giving philosophy. So we've really done a couple things during this time. We did turn on online sales, and we've seen a great response. So I don't want to leave that out of the picture, but we've focused really on going to local businesses, saying, hey, you know, Slice 420 has great pizza, or going to Woodlands Deli and getting a coffee, or Switchback Coffee Roasters. Hey, this is how we're going around and supporting the community, because we believe in our community. So that's, I think, a critical piece of what we're doing. The other piece that we've started to focus more on, and we did it early on and we kind of got away from it as a business, was because it's lemon wine, you can make it in cocktails. So what we've really focused on doing is going to some of our local liquor stores that we have a really good relationship with, and doing cocktail videos like, hey, this is something you can do at home if you want to get creative and, you know, make a different cocktail, or, you know, these are different flavors you can mix together, or, you know, kind of focusing, okay, we can't go out right now, but how can we make the best of it? You know, life gives you lemons. We make wine, but life gives you lemons. How do you make the best out of it at your home? What's that nice little deck drink that you can make that's maybe 2 or 3 ingredients? You don't have to be a mixologist, and enjoy at least a little bit of that experience at home, maybe on a nice sunny day. So really focusing on, you know, obviously, you know, turning online sales, building community, and then how do we make the best of the experience given where we're at. I think is kind of our multi-pronged or 3-pronged approach is what we look at strategically right now to answer that question.
Awesome. James and Dylan, you guys both have addressed things that are difficult that you've had to do, choices you've made that are difficult. What are some of the easy decisions you've had to make in this time that have set your business up for long-term success that you may be able to share with the community that they may not know? Just some of the easy things you did that were quick and have benefited you long-term.
I think for me is, you know, picking not right people, but picking the people that I know have bills coming in as far as my employees. And because I have a mixed bag of folks. I have the high school kiddo, and then I have the folks that are living on their own. So the ones that I know have the bills coming in, the easy decision for me was even though I was making zero money, was to keep them on and pay them, because, you know, they still have life happening. And I knew that trying to go unemployment route was going to be a nightmare. So even with paying them and giving them hours, I have told people to continue to apply for unemployment. And then there's ways that they annotate that they've gotten money, blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't slow down their process, but I've kept them going. And I think the projects we're doing to get to the point is setting us up for, you know, a better experience at Dart Wars when we are able to open up.
Well, I think for us, you know, a lot of our industry runs on what they call net 30, and that's mostly liquor stores, the off-premise accounts. And so we basically translated that typically on-premise accounts, bars and restaurants, they usually pay COD. And what we decided right from the get-go is like, hey, you know, we're going to drop off a case of wine. You only have to pay for what you sell. And guess what? You know, we'll talk in May and we'll kind of see where you guys are at cash flow wise, you know, because we've been blessed as a company and we've run, you know, watched our pennies. We were able to forego that, maybe some of those COD accounts. And what's been really nice is these, you know, on-premise accounts have been so appreciative to know that, hey, we've got your back. You know, we'll figure this out in May. You know, just pay for what you sell. You don't have to, you know, be stuck or committed to anything. We just want to help you guys out. And the response has been outstanding. So for us, it was a really easy decision because a lot of our off-premise accounts were already net 30. So we just translated that into on-premise, which is typically not the way you handle an on-premise account.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Brandy.
Cool. All right, just making sure it was my turn. First off, nobody wants to address James's shirt. Totally intentional.
Yeah.
So I actually have a question for both of you. James, I know you have a huge support around the monument community. I see posts online from like Arlene's Beans and stuff all the time with your product. I know you guys get a lot of support out of the Chamber of Commerce in Tri-Lakes. Are you getting that same kind of exposure in Colorado Springs, Mountain Valley? How far are you guys expanding that partnership out to try to get the word out there right now about the business and the brand?
For us, it's been really all the way through Colorado Springs. You know, that corridor between Colorado Springs and Monument. We've gotten a lot of great support. We've seen, you know, I think you do good things happen, and we've been really blessed that way. So.
Okay, cool. Well, I was just curious. I didn't know how far you guys were trying. I mean, I've seen a lot of you guys up north. Just hadn't seen as much of that concentration down south. So
Yeah.
I was just curious how you're helping or how you're trying to get out there to obviously, you know, keep things going right now. And Dylan, I have a question for you. So you get a lot of these businesses right now like I Arted and Painting with a Twist that are doing all these at-home kits. Is there any option for you guys to do like a rental where people don't have to physically come in? They can come pick up, you know, merchandise, do a Nerf war thing at their house. What are some kind of out of the box methods you guys are trying to use right now to help keep business going?
So I made the decision early to, you know, I was thinking a lot of those things, like what can I do to try to, you know, push out Dart Wars to places. But again, we're a very niche, you know, deal. It's not something that would be easily translatable to, you know, here's a Dart Wars pack to rent, come grab it, you know, play it at your house and then bring it back, right? There's a lot of risk with that too, but I chose instead of like, you know, trying to do immediate, you know, gratification of some, like, I think very small bit of revenue. I really focused on those projects, again, in-store projects that when we do open up, it'll again help the user experience, the guest experience, and have more fun. Because again, it's a very niche thing, and especially once mom and dad start getting crazy, they don't want to add more chaos to the house and more mess, balls everywhere, darts everywhere. I think people would try to murder me if I tried something like that.
I was just thinking it'd be a great stress reliever for people right now. And it's like, yeah, you might have to pay for what you don't return because you lost a dart in your backyard, which I find from the kids behind me all the time. So yeah, they don't usually stay around the house. Just a thought on how you might be able to do some extra things to get out there. But I love the fact that you're focusing on the long term and how I can make things better down the road versus the reactionary, how can I just get some cash flow in the door right now? So thank you.
Great points, Brandy. Thank you so much, you guys. Thanks for your insight. I hope you guys don't mind. I want to go down to a little bit of a granular level in planning with both of you gentlemen. So bear with me, and I'd love for insight from both of you guys. First, and there's two portions to my question. First, did you guys, before all of this happened, have a disaster plan in place? If yes, how did it help you? If no, would you go back in time and have one? And then the other part is, on the same level of planning, is as we move forward, Governor Polis has announced that he's not extending the stay-at-home orders. So all of us are starting to looking at planning to reopen and getting back to business. Now, we all know business will not be how it was 8 weeks ago. So what is your plan to reopen, and what does your business look like from what you see today? Of course, that's probably going to change tomorrow, but from what you see today, what are the changes that you see in your industry and your business going forward?
All right, I'll start. So the first part of the question asking, did I have a disaster plan? I'll say kind of, and I was trying to build up my cash reserve within my bank account just for, any kind of situation that may come up, and have some extra cash on hand. So yes, I was planning for that, but nobody can ever honestly say, yes, I planned for a world pandemic that shut down basically the economy. I mean, there's no worst case, or there's no better worst case scenario than what we're experiencing right now for small business. Doesn't matter if it's mine or any other small business. I was just lucky, and I'd rather be lucky than good, because I slowed down the process of opening the store in Denver because I was trying to open for spring break, and this is all pre-pandemic, right? So what I'm saying I was lucky for is I had cash on hand for that I borrowed to open that store. I slowed it down, then the pandemic hit, and I didn't rush into opening that store. So I had a little extra cash on hand to be able to put all towards Dart Wars Colorado Springs. Now, it's tanked my ability to open that store anytime soon up in Denver, but I got lucky that I had that extra cash on hand versus trying to apply for loans and PPPs and all this stuff that is just an abysmal failure for small business, I think. There's some success stories, but I personally haven't heard any from people I actually know. So that's the tough thing is weathering this. I just had that reserve on hand, and I got lucky with the cash that I had ready to open the other store. Now, as far as rollout, and I'm a realist. I know that I'm going to open when I can, but I'm going to have to play with my staffing as far as minimum staffing to not pay too much, lose money with more people working than people coming in. And then just feel that out and see how people are comfortable with it. Because we've added sanitizing stations. We're sanitizing all our blasters. We're going to do that in between rounds. So we've added implemented processes we're going to do to help people feel comfortable. But I hope I'm wrong. I just don't think a lot of people are going to be comfortable coming out doing recreation type of sports. Two things: the virus and people losing their jobs, right? People aren't just going to instantly want to spend discretionary funds on shooting each other. And again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they want to come in and do that. It's a great stress relief. But for the most part, I think it's going to be a very gradual reopening for me. I'll open and we'll just play it by ear and see how it goes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I echo that a little bit. I don't think you can ever really prepare for anything like this. I think what we chose to do is we work with an accounting firm that helps us with what they call the profit first philosophy and building your vault, which is kind of your cash for the disaster, right? And so really building that vault and putting that together acts as a hedge, and has actually given us an opportunity again to help those on-premise accounts. And I think going forward long term, some of the things I kind of talked a little bit about it earlier about during the Great Depression, the thing that Gallo did to grow, they changed their format to a smaller format, and maybe it was a little bit more affordable, it was a little bit more accessible. Those are different strategies that we're looking at. We're looking at even getting more of a cocktail video regimen, maybe doing Mixer Mondays, or certain different things where we can bring the experience into the home. Maybe even, one of the things that we've discussed, and there's a lot of ideas you throw around as a small business. The other thing is maybe finding those key influencers here in the Colorado Springs community. And because it would be a small event, maybe bringing 2 or 3 up to the winery and doing a live tasting. People could, see them taste our product. They could evaluate their product right there on spot, say it tastes like this, it reminds us of this, we like this, we don't like that. And then it creates this, okay, it creates the picture, right? Sometimes when you have a product that is a food or a drink or whatever, people need to understand what's that look like if my product hits my mouth. So maybe having some smaller 5-person events or 10-person events, in a controlled setting at the winery, or maybe having a 5 or 10-person event at one of our on-premise accounts, so we can highlight, like Beasts and Brews, they have a nice little meeting room off to the side. Maybe we invite 10 people into that meeting room, maybe a couple of our super fans and a couple influencers and maybe one person from the news, and doing maybe just an event where people are tasting it and talking about it, and then also we get to feature our customer, and hey, they have this great roast that they're cooking from Beasts and Brews, and maybe some things like that we can kind of get creative, right? Don't be afraid to get creative and think about a box. And I think that's one of our special, a secret sauce to Evergood Elixirs is each person, my wife, Matthew's wife, Matthew, we really create this like idea mixer where we put a lot of things together and try to come up with those creative different things on, okay, it's probably tastings are not going to be in-store tastings at liquor stores, are probably not going to be on the table for a while. So how do we create that in-store tasting experience without people necessarily being there from the general public? Because I don't know when that's going to open back up.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I think we're at that point, right, Jeff? You're the MC today. Want to make sure on time we give you guys enough time to answer. This is a little bit different of a presentation, but we decided as organizers we still want to ask that question. So Dylan and James, what can we as a Colorado Springs community do to support you and your business?
I love that question. So for us, for Dart Wars, is be ready to go out and shoot your friends and family when we can open up. That's the biggest thing for us.
The biggest thing for us, the biggest thing for us is most people don't realize bars and restaurants, they buy enough food to just get them through, or they buff product that week, and they're always on a razor's edge, even in good times. And so your bars and restaurants right now are struggling. So go out and support them. And then also not just buy our wine. I mean, if you want to buy our wine, I'd love for you to buy our wine, buy beer, whatever they've got, cocktail mixers. I've seen some people come out with these creative pre-mixed cocktail bags. Bars and restaurants, their best margins are always alcohol. So if you buy like a bottle of our wine with a pizza at Slice 420, they're going to have a lot better margins and a lot better cash flow. And then if you can tip more than your general, 15, 20%, if you can tip 30%, what the most encouraging thing I've seen is these restaurant owners, they're giving those tips to their employees, even the employees that are laid off that are at home, they're giving those tips to their employees. They're not keeping those tips for themselves. And so tip as much as you can, buy some alcohol, and go out and support your local bars and restaurants. That's the single best thing you can do right now.
And you can set up shop at Dart Wars, right? No, I'm just kidding.
if they get a liquor license, yeah, that'd be fun.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Wow. Well, thank you guys so much. That was really insightful, and y'all are really a great example of what it's like to stay afloat and grind through this hard time. It reminds me of a quote that I wanted to share from Steve Jobs. I'm convinced that about half of what separates successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. And you guys are pure perseverance. It takes a lot to weather this storm, and y'all are sharing a lot of helpful information for the Colorado Springs community. So thank you all for that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Hey,
So
really
as we
quick,
wrap
I just
up
saw
today's
this
1
comment
million
on
cups.
Facebook. Oh, sorry. What was that?
No, go ahead, Rihanna. Go
I
ahead.
had to jump in because this is just too great. On Facebook, Heather Anderson says, let's go to the park, shoot people with Dylan's darts, and have lemon wine shooters. Shooting and shooters. Bring it on. All right, sorry to interrupt. That was just too good.
No, that's
knowledge.
That's an even better way to end it today than I think my quote was. I think that that's a great idea. Some shooters and shooters. Please, everybody who's watching, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all of the social medias. Check us out and share this video so that other entrepreneurs in the community can see it afterwards. They don't have to watch it live to appreciate and benefit from what was said today. Thank you, everybody, for coming to 1 Million Cups, and we'll see you again same time next week. Thank you very much.
See you guys.
Yeah.